Okay, so boom, let's just get started. Did you click on this video because you're getting shit on by all your friends? Well, that's a good thing, because in today's video, I'm going to be telling you all the tips and tricks you need to start beating them. So yeah, let's just get started. I'm going to split this video up into 4 different categories, and I'm going to break down each one. And these categories are going to include play styles, fighting styles, health bar / stamina tips, and general tips. If you follow these, you can master any class of your choice. Before we get into the video, I just want to put up a little disclaimer. I'm not the best player, but I have around 800 knockouts, so yeah, I kind of know what I'm talking about. So let's just get into it. Alright, so we're going to be starting off with a pretty big topic here, which is your playstyle. This is going to be different for everyone, but I'm going to try to give some tips that are universal for all classes. First of all, you need to be abusing your class's strengths. For an example, if you're playing hitman like me, I'm going to try to abuse my M1 range and the speed of them. On the other hand, you also have to try to abuse the person you're going up against. You have to take note of what they're doing wrong and when they're leaving themselves open. So basically, whoever can adapt faster is going to win. If you look at this clip here, I'm going up against a handful player. Throughout the whole match, he's been throwing 1 to 4 M1s and then heavy attacking after. So it makes him predictable and easy to dodge. But later on, he catches onto this and he starts timing his M1s and leaving some gaps in between them to make me second guess if he's going to throw a light or a heavy. This allows him to get some free hits on it. You basically have to be constantly adapting, and whoever does it better will win. So yeah, that's about it for playstyles. Alright, now let's talk about fighting styles. I'm going to give some tips for every single fighting style and go over some of their strengths and weaknesses. This isn't meant to be anything crazy in depth. I just want to give beginners something to base their style choosing off of. Alright, so let's start off with basic. I think it's a really balanced style, and it isn't bad at all. It has a decent M1 and an M2 and a pretty solid dash as well. You should try to definitely take advantage of its dodge, but yeah, there's nothing too special about it. Moving on now, let's talk about long guard, which I think is an extremely underrated class. It has some pretty insane reach, especially if you abuse the dashback M2 mechanic. You can catch a ton of people off guard super easily. One of the only downsides is its mediocre damage, so you should definitely try to abuse the range on this class and play well. Alright, so let's talk about Smash now. Smash has an above average damage and a really solid block as well. It also has a small delay on the M2, making it a little harder to perfect dodge. One of the big downsides is that your moves are easily dodgeable and perfect blockable, so you should try to mix up your tempo on this class and you'll easily be able to do a lot of damage. It's not bad at all. Moving into the rare category now, let's talk about counter. Counter is a super solid style that does more damage when you do counters. Who would have thought? Counters are basically when you try to attack but you hit first. This means you can do a ton of damage, especially if you counter with a heavy attack. Some downsides of this class is its slow M1 animation, causing it to be easily dodgeable. Alright, so let's talk about corkscrew now, which is a really solid style. It has this unique trait where you heal faster after taking damage, which is super useful. You can also heal to full HP when knocked down. Pairing this with its M2 of good reach, its M2 is also a little delayed similar to Smash's M2. It's a really solid class. One of the only weaknesses is its slow animations, but that's never really a problem. Now for the last class in rare, let's talk about Trickster. I'm gonna be honest, if you use this class, you low-key deserve no reds, but realistically, it's not all that bad. It has great stamina regen and dodges, making it perfect to dodge other styles, but Trickster has a horrendous block, similar to Slugger. I'd recommend taking advantage of your dodges and spamming them, similar to Hanselo. Now for the first style in mythical tier, Epo. I low-key don't even know to say for this class. I think it's pretty mediocre. It has some good damage and it looks cool, I guess. I don't really have a lot of experience with it, and I think everything it does, other classes can do better, so yeah, I don't even know. Moving on now, let's talk about Hanselo, which I think is a super solid style. It has an amazing dash that you can spam, similar to Trickster, and perfect dodge easily with. It also has some pretty decent range. One of its main downsides is that you take more damage against counterattacks, making it especially weak against counter mains. I'd recommend learning the perfect dodge sounds of this class and abusing its range. Alright, so we're finally in the legendary tier, so let's talk about Hitman first. Hitman has a really fast startup animation on its M1s and some really solid damage as well. Not to mention the great range on its punches, making it perfect to punish people that don't play well. The only downside is its below average dash, but if you can learn how to perfect block well, this class has a really high skill ceiling. Lastly, let's talk about Slugger, which you guys know I dick red. I think this class is pretty solid as well. It has amazing damage on its M2 that can be charged up, making it hard to dodge. It also has a really good dash on the tier, but because of its super slow wind-up times on its punches, you're open to be easily punished by skilled players. But if you can perfect dodge and block well, it isn't as much as a glaring issue, but it's rare to find good players that can do that. I'd recommend really trying to take your time with this class and learn how to perfect block, but that kind of goes for every single other class. So that's about it for the fighting styles currently in the game. Let's talk about some health bar / stamina tips now. Alright, so let's go over some stamina tips real quick. When you punch, you lose stamina. It's actually pretty crazy. If you don't want to lose stamina, you stop punching. A lot of people who play counter and other styles like that delay their punches and let their stamina regen so they can counter you. Make sure you watch your stamina and don't let it run out or you'll get stunned. Now let's talk about the health bar real quick. Whenever you M1 people, it doesn't do permanent damage. If you see here, they heal it back. But when you hit them with an M2, it does permanent damage and stops them from healing if they were. And yeah, that's about it. And now it's time to talk about some general tips. I have none. Just play the fucking game more, man. I'm so done with fucking editing this video.